it wasn't the Monte Morris and Deontay Burtons of the world that powered ISU to this year's title. However you want to look at it, the Vikings, against all odds, are 4-0. Looking to make it 5 at home today. The first time these two squads have squared off since Gladbrook-Rhinebeck blasted Hudson in the 2013 season opener. For most of this one, the fans here at High Point Solution Stadium were looking at these. But that District 5 crown, that one still up for grabs. Much like the Packers' playoff hopes, Lambeau Field definitely unclear today. They lose heartbreaking fashion, Lou. Last-minute field goal, but it was to the number 13 team in the country. It was to Baylor. Spencer Wiskus wins it for West. Say that one 5 times fast. And whatever you guys give, it's going to be a home run. The United States hasn't won a Ryder Cup since 2008, which, when you consider the iPhone, One Direction, and all-day breakfast at McDonald's didn't exist then, yeah, that makes that stretch feel a little bit longer. Like last week, though, the Hawkeyes came back to tie it late and even took the lead. But that only lasted about a minute and a half. And to win games in the Big Ten, you need a whole lot more energy than that. I can certainly say, Zach, that trek to North Fayette Valley is no joke. And that's why home field advantage and a district crown would most certainly give the Tiger Hawks the upper hand headed into the postseason. Coach Farley said there is still one question left unanswered. Can the Panthers do it again next week? In Ames, Mia O'Brien, Fox 28 Sports. Pat Fitzgerald does not like Iowa. It's that simple. And with the player-turned-head Cats squad 1-3 coming into Kinnick today, this one do or die for Iowa and Northwestern's Big Ten hopes and dreams. KF chomping on that gum because this one, a nail-biter. First quarter, Clayton Thorson on the keeper, looking like Cats great Trevor Simeon out there. The two Northwestern fans present, they approve. 7-0. Second quarter now, down 10. Akram Wiley picking up right where he left off last week. Slippery as a fish. He scores. Iowa within 3. A Northwestern fumble gives them the ball back minutes later. C.J. Beathard says, no Matt Vandenberg, no problem. Riley McCarron, a monster on offense and special teams. Hawks up at the break. But the offense struggled in the second half, and Northwestern's thrived. Thorson to the Big Ten's leading receiver, Austin Cars. Check in with those fans over in row 1, and yeah, that's a touchdown. Iowa falls to Northwestern 38-31. Save a team that wears Kansas across its chest. No team has won at Allen Fieldhouse in the last 3 years. Nada, zilch, no one. But Bill Self himself. Well, Dorothy, you better hold on to Toto tight because the Cyclones were in Kansas today. And though it did not look promising early, lots of yelling for Steve Prohm, 0 points for Matty Ice. Iowa State down 15 at half. Good thing Deontay Burton decided to play the game of his life. He gives the Cyclones their first lead with 6.5 to play. He had 29, but this is Kansas. Of course they came back. So of course Monte Morris responded. Cyclones shot 52% from 3, but we still had to go to overtime because, again, this is Iowa State, Kansas. In OT, Monte Morris doing what Conference Players of the Year do best. Dishing it out for the game-sealing score. Donovan Jackson, dagger. The streak over. I told you to hold on tight to Toto, Dorothy. Iowa State wins 92-89. Well, if it isn't the 2 best words in sport. Game 7. The Cubs certainly showed their best the last 2 nights, rallying from a 3-1 series deficit to force this rubber match, and up at least 3 runs most of the way tonight, so all smiles, right? Wrong. 8th inning, tying run at the plate, Rajai Davis takes out a Fox camera, and the air out of the Cubs' sails. We're headed to extras. 2 on for Ben Zobrist in the 10th. He was hitless up to that point, but delivers arguably biggest smack of the game. 7-6 Cubs. They'd make it 8-6. Indians made it 8-7, bottom of the 10th. But Mike Montgomery with quite the first career save. Is this heaven? No, it's 2016, and the Cubs are world champions. It's pretty rare to see a freshman starting on the varsity wrestling mat.
It takes a special kid, a very special kid in a lot of different ways, and we've got one of those kids in Braden.
What do I love about wrestling? I mean, it's a lot tougher than any other sport. It's a challenge for me. I love challenges.
And if starting at 182 pounds as a freshman doesn't already sound challenging enough, Waverly Shell Rock's Braden Wolf is doing it without all 10 fingers.
He was born with split hand syndrome, and then he was born with an extra big toe on his right foot.
His hands were split down to the wrist.
Yeah, it was split.
So
I mean, it was split way down, so.
they tried to give him more of a palm so that he could grip things and such.
Even after 3 surgeries, Braden would have to handle things differently.
Heavy with your hands!
Especially on the wrestling mat.
You know, I think that's one of the reasons that he's as tough as he is as an individual, is that he's dealt with adversity his entire life. And so getting in a tough situation isn't anything new for him. And it's just, you know, hey, I'll find a way to push forward.
To the point where Braden and those around him don't even realize it's there.
When people meet Braden, that's not the first thing they notice about him.
It's his character.
Tough, adaptable, and ready for the next challenge. His first state tournament.
My goal that I set at the beginning of this year was to make it on the podium at the state tournament. And hopefully by the end of my high school career, I can call myself a state champ.
After all, in wrestling, do you really need all 5 fingers when all that really matters is what's in your heart? In Waverly, Mia O'Brien, CBS 2 Sports. Pundits across the nation are already calling the Panthers' loss to Texas A&M the worst in sports history, but it won't define the season for the Panthers, who clawed back from a 10-11 midseason mark to make it to the round of 32.
There was an opportunity in mid-January to quit. There was an opportunity to let things slide, and they would not do it.
We had a bad stretch in January where I think we lost 6 or 7 in a row. And I think it just goes to show how hard all of us wanted it, especially the seniors.
And in the locker room, that's who the Panthers were most concerned about.
It starts with those seniors and, you know, telling them, they're telling us, we got to stay together. You know, we can still win this game.
I told them how much I loved them. They've given so much and they've grown so much so that our program could raise the bar again.
Just told them thank you. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to be a player and giving me a second chance at this whole thing with me being a transfer. Couldn't ask for a better coach in the world.
The feeling of this will go away at some point. The feeling of what they did to get to this point, what it took, that'll never go away.
Now, the Panthers will return their 2 leading scorers from tonight's game, but the graduation of Matt Bohannon, Paul Jesperson, and Wes Washpin is the graduation of 3 guys that Coach Jake says wore the purple better than anyone before. With the Panthers in Oklahoma City, Mia O'Brien, Fox 28 Sports.